What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a Get to Know Me, and we are again answering 20 questions. This time focusing on my motivation and mindset. So we're gonna just dive straight in because some of these are gonna be some long-winded answers. So the first one is, what drives me out of bed each morning? At the moment, I mean, work drives me out of bed on the days when I have work. On the days when I'm not working, I don't really I'm not in a rush to get out of bed, to be completely honest. Potentially just an unhealthy coping mechanism for just the overwhelming amount of stress, anxiety and depression that is, generally speaking, these last 3 months follow me anyway. I definitely get a good old case of the seasonal depression. And it usually sets in about a day or two after my birthday, so that's why all of these videos have been delayed. Yay. But yeah, work generally, on the days when I work, when it's running, I try to go and do parkrun on a Saturday morning, because that's another thing that's going to get me up out of bed, and then I want to have done some exercise, I have done something, so I feel more inclined to be out of bed. The downside is I'm usually exhausted afterwards, because I have no ability to pace myself, apparently, during a 5k run. So yeah, but no, on the days when we do that, my family we do that, and then we go and we get breakfast. We used to go and do a little bit of shopping as well on a Saturday morning, and then we'd come home by then around about 11, nearly 12 sometimes, depending on what we've done in the morning. So then yeah, it's just sort of a chill afternoon sort of a thing. At the moment as well, I've got 1 week left until my scholarships are due in, so I am trying to do those as much as possible, make sure that I've got them nice and done, and then as well trying to have as much packed as possible while still being able to live the way I would normally, in anticipation for getting a offer next month for afters. So I probably don't need to worry too much about packing stuff until then, but yeah, that'll definitely be a thing that'll get me up in the morning on that particular day. Number two, since I've rambled on about that far too long, number two, what I feel most passionate about, that obviously comes down to two things: film and just the entertainment and arts industries in general, and mental health. There is sort of a third thing of opportunities in rural communities that definitely takes a third place spot, while these two sort of fight out for dominance. Usually mental health wins out over the other bits, but then there's other times where it's no, I want to be in this so that I can advocate for this better. And yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm passionate about. What goals do I have for myself? Obviously, I check in with my resolutions at the end of each month. So if you want to see how I've done so far and what my current goals are, I September resolutions check down below. No. Yes, no, yes. October resolutions check? No, I do it at the beginning of the month. What am I saying? The October one will be linked down below. That'll give you an idea of what my current goals are. Aside from those, I would love, absolutely love, to one day, like 5-10 years time, sort of one day, more looking towards the 10 years sort of deal, have my own production company. I've got a lot of mates who are musicians or like makeup artists and that sort of thing, models, actors, actresses, a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a whole heap of friends who are right into that, and if I can set up a production studio that not just focuses on film, obviously film would be what I would be focusing on, but the production studio can also be where my friend that does music can go to record his music. Even better, because then I can sort of be like, hey, since we're producing, like we as the company are producing your music, can we use this one song in the upcoming film that we're producing at the moment as sort of a like in-house advertisement, like, hey, look, here, come to this film, and then this song here is on this new album that's just come out. We've produced both of them, so like, enjoy all of our stuff. Like, I think that'd be really cool. Wouldn't mind moving to LA. I don't know what it is. I really want to go to LA. There's a lot of reasons why I would love to move to LA, and we're not going to get into all of them now. And then last but not least is I would love to build my own house one day as well. I have like a floor plan and everything already like up here. I am by no means an architect, so I don't know how to actually draw floor plans and stuff, but boy howdy do I know the floor plan looks like in my head. So yeah. Number 4, what life events have helped shape my goals? Moving around a bunch as a kid, reading and writing like the constants, so I think that's played a part in sort of where I wanted to go with life as far as employment's concerned. Like, I would love to do writing of some kind. I didn't used to be huge on like social events and like when I say social events I mean like social like issues in general. So journalism wasn't really something that I was looking at, but now it's like, if I've got nothing else, I'll look at doing that, because you can quite easily get a journalism certificate. That's pretty easy, that's a TAFE course, but I don't think I'll need that if I can get into afters, because after the 3 years I'm basically all but guaranteed employment at some level with a like something to do with film when I leave. So I'm all but guaranteed employment in the film industry in Australia there. So yeah. And then sort of end of 2010 and then 2011, 2012, I was sort of heavily encouraged to do drama in my senior years in high school, and I also did film as a subject. Meant that I didn't have to do 6 subjects in my senior years, I ended up with 5. So I ended up doing English because it was mandatory, mathematics because I feel like that's more mandatory. Like you should need maths more than you need English. Like I'll need to do my taxes every year, but I don't know how often I'm gonna need to deconstruct a poem. You know what I mean? So I did maths, and then my other three were drama, ancient history, and Italian. If I could go back and change some things, probably wouldn't have done ancient history or Italian. Like I'll always be interested in languages, but I feel like having done something like I don't know, I feel like a computer science, like an IT course, and then like we had a subject called sports, lifestyle and recreation, which was sort of like a more the prac side of PE essentially. Wouldn't mind doing those, so like IT and SLR would have been the ones I would have done instead. Number 5, how easy or difficult is it to motivate yourself? Extremely difficult. I'm going to give you an analogy and then we're going to move on, because this is essentially what's started to get me motivated. Have you ever tried turning your car on first thing on a winter morning, regardless of whether it's snowed or not? And that your car's been outside, you've gone out after you've got yourself ready, you get in the car, you're trying to start the engine so you can get to work, but it's cold. That's what it's like motivating me. Eventually it'll happen, and once I'm motivated, I'll stay motivated. I may even get more motivated once I'm motivated. But if I'm unmotivated, getting me to motivated is difficult. Number 6, what obstacles get in the way of my motivation? Mental health. Primarily, mental health. The voices don't seem to like when we've got to do things, you know, especially if it's like I don't want to do them but they're necessary. There's like a great deal of complaining from the other voices, and then logic and reasons like, we just go and do it and get it done in the next 5 minutes. It's done and we don't have to worry about it. I try to listen to logic and reason a lot. I try to. Doesn't always work, but I try to. Number 7, what accomplishment do I feel most proud of? I mean, honestly, ask me in a month. Because if I get accepted into AFTRS, it'll be that. The fact that all of the drama I've had to deal with in my short amateur filmmaking career, if that can turn out to be worth it in the end, that'll be my proudest accomplishment. I'm gonna be so chuffed if I get an offer. Like, you don't even know. But currently, it's really funny because all of my proudest accomplishments also have a really like major downside that came like right after, within the same like thing. So I've directed 2 professional actors. Both told me that I was very professional on set and that I should keep at it. I think there's a question that comes up at some point here. asking like what the best advice I got was, I think there is one like that at some point, and it's that. If that question does come up, I'll remind you. But there was that. Felt really good to hear that from some people who actually, you know, acted for screen and stage before, to be like, hey, we work with other people who are like, a director is their job, whether for the stage or for the screen. We've worked with them. You handle yourself on a film set the same way they do. Keep at it. Make this your career because you're good at it. And that was just because I really want to be a director. So obviously that was like, and my second one is that I helped out with a documentary for a film festival that I've been attending since 2011. And yeah, I'd sort of shown up early for the film festival, started working with them just out of sheer, walked over, said hi, because they were the only other people at the venue at the time. They were like, hey, do you mind holding this for us? And then like, come in with us for the rest of the day to help us out. I was like, sure, I can do that. Why not? And yeah, sort of throughout the day, ended up doing things like a boom operator, holding one of the reflector sheets to get like the light on their face, so that the shadows weren't so harsh. By the end of the day, I was the one operating the camera. That was pretty cool. When I told my best friend about it, they were really jealous because the filmmakers that I was working with are filmmakers that we'd had to study one of their films, one of their short films in school, and we both like, thought it was an incredible film, and it is an incredible film. And so they were very jealous, and I felt like quite the little accomplishment that day. Number 8. What do I want to accomplish before I die? I mean, I wouldn't mind accomplishing those 3 goals from question 3. That'd be kind of cool. And then if I can also, through my production company, set up a non-for-profit organisation to help raise funds for the other 2 things that I mentioned. So if I've got my production company and it's through that I've got my NPO, I'd love it to help raise funds for mental health research, for suicide prevention methods, for early diagnosis of mental health issues, for destigmatizing mental health within society, all that sort of stuff, as well as being able to provide opportunities within the arts industry for regional and rural communities, and not just in Australia, but like all over. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that. I think that'd be really cool. Number 9, what's something that fills me with purpose? See questions 1 through 8, or rather the answers 4, 1 through 8. Arts industries, regional and rural communities, mental health. It's pretty simple. Number 10, when have I felt most lost in life? Without going into too much detail, sort of 2007 to 2009-ish. Number 11, what's my general outlook on life? Positively focused, I think is the shortest way to put it. And I'm worded like that because question 12 is, am I more optimistic or pessimistic? Neither. I am realistic. I don't go into the world with, oh look, it's all butterflies and rainbows. And I don't go into it like, no, it's all death and destruction. I come in and be like, it's all butterflies and destruction. Like, there are good things that happen. There are bad things that happen. Here is the world. But in order to better answer question 11, within that view, we try to focus more on the butterflies and rainbows side. Because if we can put that energy out into the world, hopefully we can restore a little bit of balance in the positive negative thing. So I may appear optimistic and hopeful and all those other things. I'm just trying to put positive energy out into the world, but I'm trying to take the world as it comes. Yeah. Number 13, what's my attitude when faced with a challenge? I actually really love a challenge. I don't mind testing myself a little bit. Especially if it's something that I'm like, I'm pretty good at this. Let me just like actually test how good I am. If it's something that I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that, a little bit more daunting. But in those situations, it's more of a, I'll give it a crack, because the worst that's going to happen is I'll get it wrong, and then someone will be able to teach me, and I will learn something new. And I like to learn new things. I don't want to ever be like, I've learned everything I could possibly learn in this lifetime, because it's at that moment that I will become very bored. And I never want to sort of deliberately stunt my own growth as a person. I'm always happy to, change my beliefs and evolve my ideals and all these other sorts of things. I never want to stop with that. Number 14, what's a limiting belief that's held me back in life? That I'll never be able to get into the film industry. That's or that like the things that I enjoy doing, like writing and filmmaking, are not going to be financially viable career options for me. That's not the case at all. And it's for a couple of years did hold me back, which is why I'm only now applying for AFTRs. How open are you to learning new things is 15. Already answered this, very open. Question 16 is, how do I reflect in an attempt to grow? Again, I've kind of already addressed this one. I never want to deliberately stunt my own growth as a person. I'm always going to have something that I want to work on, whether it be a physical thing, an emotional thing, a mental thing, a spiritual thing, financial, occupational, whatever. There's always going to be something that I think I could do better here. So I'm always going to grow. And usually once I've grown to a place where I'm happy in that particular regard, it's then like, okay, now what's my weakest point? and it's constantly trying to pick up the weakest point and bring it up at least to, you know, middle range, so that as I grow, I don't have this one glaring weakness. I'm pretty well rounded. Where do I fall between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset? The growth side, obviously. If you are ever fixed in place, you are either stuck or deliberately stunting yourself. If you are stuck, it's probably because you've already reached the peak of what you can achieve on that particular goal. Go back, have a little reflection, find something else that you can do, try to think outside the box a little bit, because it might just be that there's a blockage in your way and you're stuck trying to go there, and if you just sort of came across either way, you'd find that you can continue growing. It may not be to the exact point you want it to begin with, but you can always bring it back and just sort of work around that blockage. So definitely a growth mindset. Yeah, question 18. What's the most influential advice I've ever received? I refer you back to the actors that I directed who told me to keep at it and try to make that my career. That was the most influential advice I've ever received. Yeah. Number 19, how much has my mindset changed? I mean, look, if we're going back to like beginning of high school or earlier, heaps. Because obviously senior school, a lot of things changed for me. And then now I've been able to, almost 10 years later, been able to work myself around the limiting belief that I'm never going to be able to make that, even though during that time is when I received the advice of like, keep doing this. So yeah, heaps. And I think realistically you've got to look at like more of a long-term spectrum. You're like, how do you want it to change? Sure, you might be able to be like, oh, if you'd asked me a week ago, I'd have disagreed with myself today. And, you know, that's great if you've had a like complete 180 in your viewpoint and you're now on a completely different path. Or at least one that makes you happier and more fulfilled than what you were on before. That's perfect. But I think in general, you've really got to look more like long term to see like, well, this is where this bit changed, that's where that bit changed, that's where that bit changed. And now here we are with an almost completely opposite or at least a very different mindset about things. So yeah, like, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, it's not gonna happen for me. I need to just, you know, pick something that sort of brushes up next to it, sort of thing. Like, I had ideas of doing, you know, I've had ideas of being a photographer and doing videography with that, because then at least that's some version of film. I've thought about going and doing camera operator for like the local news and stuff. Doing English and drama as a high school teacher. I've been doing that before. All things that it's like, you know, I can still work with the equipment and the software and do what I want to do and what I love to do. But at the same time, I'm also not actually directing a film. I'm not actually producing a TV show. and that's what I would love to do the most. And number 20, what defining experiences helped solidify my current mindset? The defining one from this year, I'm only going to mention this one, was earlier in the year when I was a part of an actor's film shoot myself. I was filling in on a friend's production. They were the producer, and they needed a boom operator. They needed a sound guy. And so, yeah, that was me. And through that, I got to speak to some of the staff members at AFTRS, and sort of saw that, okay, I've actually gotten in right now. If I don't capitalize upon this, I may never get another chance again. So, I guess seizing the opportunity, and we are quietly confident we're going to get an offer. But yeah, that's my 20 questions. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell as well if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a big old thumbs up. Questions will be in the description down below. If you want to answer them in the comments, that would be great. And until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.